After President Putin spoke in a lengthy televised address announcing Moscow's formal recognition of the two separatist republics that have been involved in a low-intensity war with Ukraine since 2014, the White House immediately announced that President Joe Biden would soon sign an executive order that would prohibit new investments, trade and financing by U.S. persons to, from or in the separatist regions of that country. Additionally, the executive order would also provide authority to impose sanctions on any person determined to operate in the areas of Donetsk and Luhansk. The White House also clarified that the planned measures would be in addition to the punitive measures that they've been preparing with allies should Russia further invade Ukraine, echoing sentiments from the European Union.
If there is annexation, it will be sanctions. And if there is a recognition, I will put the sanctions on the table and the ministers will decide. Keep in mind which is the process of sanctions. According with the treaty, sanctions are being approved by the Foreign Affairs Ministers' Council by unanimity.
At the United Nations, concerns running high as diplomacy appears to be failing, with the Secretary-General saying he considers the decision by the Russian Federation to be in violation of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine and inconsistent with the principles of the UN Charter.
The Secretary-General is greatly concerned by the decision by the Russian Federation related to the status of certain areas of Donetsk and Luhansk regions of Ukraine. He calls for the peaceful settlement of the conflict in eastern Ukraine in accordance with the Minsk Agreement, as endorsed by the Security Council in 2015. The Secretary-General considers the decision of the Russian Federation to be a violation of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine and inconsistent with the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. The United Nations, in line with the relevant General Assembly resolutions, remains fully supportive of the sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders.
Amina Mohammed, welcome back to SABC News. We asked the UN's deputy chief about the violations a Russian invasion of a UN member state would represent to the UN Charter.
It's about conflict. It's about another war. It's about loss of lives and people. Mostly, I would say, women in trouble, and we find this quite incredible. I don't think in the worst of your imaginations you could think that this would happen in 2022. We've just come out of a pandemic. We know what it is like to be faced with a life-threatening situation. There are many conflicts around the world today that we can take lessons from. That's not the way that we are going to resolve any issue. We will come back 360 degrees to the table to talk again.
In a rapidly developing environment, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba called for an emergency session of the UN Security Council aimed at de-escalating the current tensions with Russia, as well as to discuss practical steps to guarantee Ukraine's security. But any action from the Council that is responsible for the maintenance of international peace and security would be limited due to Russia's permanent status, which affords it, along with China, France, the UK and the United States, a veto over any draft resolutions. Sherwin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.